Anton LaVey, a tribute for the Cloven Hoof. His name rings out, a clarion call to those who recognize their true nature, the human animals who are proud to call themselves Satanists. He was a man who looked and saw and acted upon that knowledge. His great genius was to weave together seemingly disparate threads from many cultures and times, and he recognized them as emanating from a single colliginous source. His powerful intellect and fleshly intuitions guided him to create that dark tapestry, shot through with flaming highlights and silver lightning bolts, whose substance comes from the very Lord of the Inferno himself. Thus, Anton LaVey formed the first church in Western history to be consecrated in the name of Satan. And thereby he shouted proudly to the world that the left-hand path was his course, and he would take it further than had any of those who came before him. He made it possible for us, his kin. The Satanists are born and not made. The Satanists are born and not made. To know and embrace our legacy, that of the great men and women in history who inspired to pioneer new realms of understanding, use the great key of doubt to ask the questions left unasked, to travel to the lands both physical and conceptual which had remained previously unexplored, and thus forbidden to all but the bold. Anton LaVey was one of these bold animals, complete in his understanding and brave enough to stand before his fellows and challenge the hide-bound platitudes that bind the complacent masses. His wisdom was not meant for all, as many are not born burning with the ardor of the black flame within. He knew that such will always seek after the false spiritual realms in an effort to fill that emptiness which gnaws them from within. He warned his fellows to beware, for we are few, and they are many. So we must walk with care amongst these living dead. LaVey saw one of the fulcrum points upon which the conceptual weight of the world finds balance. And he knew how to push, altering the course of perceptions in a way that will have repercussions for millennia. He was truly a titan among men, and though we are the poorer for no longer being graced by his personal presence, his burning ideas have a life of their own that is crystallized in those who know that it is their will to continue along the trail which he blazed with such brilliance. He was gifted beyond what is normally considered a standard for excellence, being able to turn his hand to many arts with a deftness often only attained by dedication to but one muse. He left a creative legacy that enriches us, and he lived his life as the true exemplar of all that he extolled, pursuing his pleasures without stinting, while producing works only attained to the most vigorous self-discipline. Anton LaVey touched many of us, and most particularly those who had the great privilege of being welcomed into his personal circle. But he will continue to touch many, even generations yet to be conceived, for he captured parts of himself in his writings, his music, and his videos that will galvanize all true Satanists to stand forth with might and understanding, dual weapons which cannot fail to bring victory. We owe him our gratitude for opening the adamantine gates of hell itself, giving form and structure to a philosophy that names us as the gods that we are. His ultimate blasphemy against the puling sheep was to shatter their idolized dictum that all men are equal. His comrades, living as true devils, would thus exercise their faculties to judge and be judged in all that they do. He dethroned the external saviors and championed responsibility for all consequences, perhaps the most frightening principle in a world wherein none are held accountable for their actions. The Church of Satan is a tenebrous cabal of those who work to continue human society's momentum along the vector set by Anton LaVey. And it shall remain the treasured domain of the imperious few, the mighty-minded who live by their own blood and brains, who sail the Eben River into the bourne of darkness, which welcomes only those who bear the blazonry of Almighty Satan upon their very souls. Anton LaVey, we salute you. Upon our faces we bear the smile of privileged information, the outward ensign of our tribal bond with thee, who wore the ironic standard so very well. You are forever in our hearts and minds. Hail Anton Szandor LaVey. Hail Satan.